So
sorry.
Casey Thompson, let me be the first to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas for the year 2026. Let me be the first.
It was awesome. How was yours?
It was very nice and relaxed and quiet.
Oh, good. Mine
And
wasn't. Well, Christmas was, but my daughter came down from Georgia. She goes to junior Georgia Southern. My son came up from South Florida. He's a police officer with a department down there, and we had Christmas here. So he brought his girlfriend. So there's extra 3 people in here, but we had a wonderful time. We had some great food. And had some crab legs, and I made fried coconut shrimp one night. Had manicotti. We grilled out there, had a fire going every night. It was just incredible time.
Very good, very good.
Yes.
We did none of that. We made hors d'oeuvres, which is usually our thing. And a lot of little sneaky snacks, cheese and crackers and little...
Yeah, we had a charcuterie board going this year.
Charcuterie, yes. We had some of that. And our Christmas dinner tradition is Chinese food. And I found...
Oh, there you go.
We've got a new Chinese spot not too far away, and it was like the freshest, best-tasting Chinese food I've had in forever. And
they're the only place open on Christmas usually.
That's right.
A Chinese place. Yeah.
We got it from watching A Christmas Story. Do you watch that?
Ah, there you go. No, I did not.
You've never seen it, or you just don't watch it on a regular basis?
The Christmas Story, I'm positive I've seen it. I don't remember it, but I've seen it. I don't watch it though.
I don't think we ever sit and watch one full showing of it, but as something we're watching goes to commercial, we'll flip over and see where we are, and it's usually You Shoot Your Eye Out or Fragile or one of the big high spots.
You remember back in the day when I was a kid, Sunday afternoons, what's the name of it, where they had it's like a collection of books but made to movie. It's gonna drive me crazy now. I can't remember it. Something movie theater, but it was all like you had Huckleberry Finn, you had all the things, you had like man,
I can kind of picture it in my head. I'm gonna have to think on it, and I'll talk to Dory. I'll see if she remembers it, because she was in Florida the same time we were. So
yeah.
Well, you were in Michigan at this point.
Probably, but I think it was a national thing. It wasn't just it wasn't
Sunday nights. Sunday nights. I remember The Wonderful World at Disney.
Oh no, this was Sunday afternoons, like right after church. You'd come home, eat. Afternoon, you have a movie on. The whole family would watch, kind of that kind of deal. So, Sundays was for church, and Saturdays for wrestling.
Right. So Saturday was wrestling day.
So it was in my household.
Yep. Sunday was usually, what would be Sunday? Domestic violence and alcohol abuse from my parents. Anyway.
At least they kept it real.
They kept
lively.
Kept it indoors. So I'm at McDonald's today eating my very healthy lunch. And the table that I'm sitting at, it's a high top, and there are 2 women in a table in a different row, but close to me. And they're just normal middle-aged women, probably on lunch from the bank or wherever. And they're holding a phone in between them. And there is a woman on this phone who is cutting a promo, Casey, about her, and it's on speaker, about her guy sending his ex a Merry Christmas message, and her responding. And this woman was livid and is going through all of these scenarios, like just playing out all this drama. And these 2 were like, yeah, I know, you've been through so much, I'm not going to put up with this. He does this one more time and I'm out of here. And how many times has she said that in her life? Probably, right?
Yeah,
it just seems
yeah,
like.
that's true.
So anyway, so the conversation is going on legit 20 minutes. And this woman has
wow.
talked herself into and out of and back into this relationship. She has, because they apparently had protective orders against each other. So she was thinking about
wow.
calling the cops on both of them. So they both got in
Yeah.
trouble, but then this would happen and that would happen. And I don't know. Eventually, I finished my lunch. I got to go back to work. And so I got up and I said to the woman who was holding the phone,
can you call me on three-way for I can get the finish of this this call?
I said, and they were starting to run out of gas too. They were starting to, but this woman was still going.
They wanted to have a little lunch without, inviting her via phone.
I said, I want to thank you guys for the lunchtime drama. I really enjoyed the story. And she turned the phone around and it was
were they on
FaceTime.
FaceTime too?
FaceTime.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
And I said, hi, just thank you for the wonderful story at lunch. And this woman's cackling her head off.
You would have shit yourself. She said, oh my God, that's Kevin Kelly.
Oh my God. I know you. Hi.
Or I said hi.
I would have recognized her from back in the day. Anyway, and then Casey, let me be one of the many that has wished you a happy new year. As this is the eve of the eve in a few hours.
I know this is our last episode for 2025.
Yes.
Wow.
So the idea is, let's kind of take a fond look back at some of the things that we talked about, hit upon some of the themes. Of course, our production staff and our production budget is not what we had hoped that it would be, so we'll have to do a lot of this from memory. And perhaps some of you in the chat, we are going on Tuesday instead of Sunday because Casey, had you seen the movie Alien?
Oh, no. No, so but I can imagine.
I legit had the alien baby. It was coming out of my stomach. Now I said,
oh, wow.
We ate nothing but like hors d'oeuvres and junk food and Chinese food. And I know what was happening because it was.
Okay, yeah. You're paying for the holiday meals.
Dome of just pain and gas, and it wouldn't go away. So we couldn't go there. And then I had stuff I had to do last night. And now here we are on Tuesday. But anyway, if any of you are around, you get the live signal you get the bat signal that we're on live, jump in, join us, and feel free to share your 2025 memories. If you kind of put what are some of the things that you've been thinking about looking back at this past year? It's been a very, very interesting one for us.
Yeah, I mean, we started this, by this 2025, we started this show in November of 2024, mid-November. So by 2025 came January 2025, we were like professionals. We've been going for a month and a half. So then we brought on a producer. Lesson learned.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, one of my buddies, that was his producer, and he's no longer with either one of the shows. He's doing his own deal, whatever. Hey,
okay.
Good for you. Best wishes.
Well, sure.
My buddy doesn't know what to do, and I've learned how to do everything our producer did. I learned how to do by the luck of God, just by mere chance. I learned how to do it. I don't know how, but we used the Riverside app for our podcast platform. Riverside actually edits the whole thing for you before we're even done. Before we're done the show, when it says it's uploaded, there's an edited version with our lower thirds, everything on it. So
amazing.
And then I do some other stuff and things like that. I've learned how to make a show open. I learned how to add music to it, pictures. All that kind of stuff. The show close and all that. So, but the funny thing is, my buddy came over. He's like, "Hey man, I got 3 shows. Can you edit them for him?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I wrote it down before when you told me." So he came over and it's like, done. He's like, "What?" I said, "Yeah." And so all that money he wanted, he's like, "Get out of here." He's like, "How much?" I said, "Yeah, how much money he wanted?" I said, "Yeah, he wanted all this." It was a substantial amount of money. But we were upfront with the guy and said, "Listen, hey, we're not opposed to anyone making money, but you know what? We're in this like you're in this, okay? So
we ain't got no money.
Yeah. When we get money, we'd be happy to give you money. But now that we learn how to, we have a guest coming on now.
All right.
So we have a little round table going on. So I learned how to do a lot of the stuff. So Kevin is the show content person. I do the behind the scenes stuff and all that, and it works out perfect because I couldn't do what Kevin does, and
Kevin couldn't do what
educated guess. Kevin couldn't do what I do.
Not in a million years. I'll tell you, before our guest comes on, I want to say, like, the biggest kind of theme for the year is seeing your growth. I say it all the time. I'm like, Casey's coming back around. You know what I mean? Because, and there's our pal all the way from the land down under, the one and the only Southern Joe, who's already into 2026. And is, wait, a few hours, right?
Yeah, in a few hours.
All right. There you are. He's our wise old sage here, and he's part of the show, and he's been a frequent in our chat room. And Joe, would you do Riverside a favor and close other browser tabs open with Riverside, please? Because the little block is bothering me because it's blocking Casey's
the producer
face.
Screaming in my ear for that to happen.
Sorry, that was me checking my Riverside to make sure all my bells and whistles were all right.
That's all right.
Do you use Riverside?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. We started off with another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We started off with another one. I forget the name of it.
StreamYard?
Oh. Yes.
What is it?
StreamYard. That was it.
Yeah, StreamYard. And I tell you what, Riverside is a million times user-friendlier and better and everything. So honestly, it probably wasn't me learning how to do all the stuff. It's just Riverside does a lot for me. So, but you know, I've learned how to create shorts and add music and pictures and things. And I think the biggest thing from this year is I learned the right time. There's certain times of the day that our key demographic and our audience are watching, and so I upload shorts at that time to maximize the viewership and and everything, and it works because and you know what's crazy is we have a short that's close to 100,000 views right now.
What?
Jeez.
Okay, it's the short. Remember when we talked about when Bob Holly sucker punched Billy Gunn?
Oh my God, really?
And there's a short made out of that. And to this day, I get on YouTube, you get a weekly recap. Every day, that is the most viewed short we have still to this day.
Wow.
And there must be hundreds, over 1,000 comments on it. It's crazy. It's just people just constantly just go on and on and on and on about it. I think it's funny. It's just the thing is, most of our content, especially when it goes up in shorts, it never goes old. So it can just be like the first time they've ever tuned in to watch, or it could be they follow the show every week. It's just it's just. It could be any time, and it's perfect for it.
Evergreen content, Joe. Evergreen.
Yeah, my screen is turning green with the envy.
There you go. Joe? How did you find us? What drew you to start logging in and following us?
Well, it was from after I interviewed Casey for my show.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then you guys and you. Casey, you had your old in-ring podcast logo behind you.
Oh, the sign, it's over there now.
The sign, and when after that I looked at it and then saw it was with Kevin Kelly, and I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting because between the two of you, you'd have a whole heap of stories, and it actually suits me because originally when I started watching your show, the live show would come on at 10 a.m. my time, and that was just as I was finishing my first courier run. Then when our daylight saving changed, it became 11 a.m. my time. At the moment, it's midday.
Perfect.
So it suits my second run.
There you go. Now, Joe, you work around and you know of and kind of involved with independent wrestling down there. What area of Australia do you live in, and what are the promotions kind of that you follow?
I'm in Melbourne. I'm a regular with Alpha Pro Wrestling, which is run by a former or semi-retired wrestler named Mike Manson. They were doing monthly shows at a place called Pipeworks Markets, which was like a undercover, what you call a flea market. Yeah.
There you go.
But
we've done a few shows in flea markets, Case, right?
Yeah, a couple here and there.
But the big promotions down here are Melbourne City PCW, MCW, and there's a mob called Deathmatch Down Under.
Gotcha. I've seen promotional items from all three. I know wrestlers that have competed in all three. And Casey, that's on a bucket list to get down there. I did New Zealand, but just did the stopover in Sydney, so it's a bucket list for me to get to Australia, and that should be something we should set goal on for this coming year.
There we go.
Yeah,
sounds
Joe
like
could make that happen. Get booked. Come on down and bring the show. As we look back in 2025, I feel, as far as professional wrestling is, we are now where we started the year, with the two warring camps of the two biggest, international promotions, and each proclaiming the other to be dead, dying, or very, very sick, both calling for regime change of the other, and nothing really changing numbers-wise, each leaking television audience, each kind of leaking live event audience, and WWE continuing to make shit pots full of money, and AEW continuing to be controlled by a billionaire. Nothing has really changed. Did I leave anything out?
No, that kind of recaps the whole year.
That's pretty much it, right, Joe?
All right, we'll see you guys next year.
Yeah, good night. Happy New Year.
I think there's going to be a slight decline, only because like WWE will be on the nose at the moment a little bit because of their just blatant price gouging. And AEW just seem to be in a flux where they're not doing anything. I think it is good, if anything, having MJF as champion again could give them a small rise, because he can be a needle mover. But I just feel like I actually don't watch a lot of either product at the moment, because for a while it's been predictable, and TV numbers, it's sort of funny talking about TV numbers when a lot of people don't even watch TV. They consume on social media, on YouTube, on streaming. And you never hear about streaming or social media numbers. You only hear about TV ratings, and they seem to be almost the least significant to me.
Well, Casey, there, like you said before, with the short, our story about Bob Holly, Potato, and Billy Gunn on the, on the Iggy from the Godwins. It seems like they are able to tout, as are we, when we get a really big number, 100,000 views of this short, and WWE will talk about 1 billion people saw almost throw Microman, whatever. It seems like those are the new big numbers now, and maybe we're just maybe everybody's just sort of focusing on the wrong metrics. I don't know. What do you think, Case?
I think we're apples and oranges, and I think we're just more relevant than all of them.
No, that's true.
But
Next year, we're going to get Casey his own midget to throw. And we can say midget. We don't have to worry about political correctness because midget is what they prefer to be called in the wrestling industry. Midget.
Yeah.
That's what that's what Fabulous Moolah did. You want to hear my Fabulous Moolah impression, Joe?
Yeah, go for it.
Go get me the midget. Go get the midget. Talking about Diamond Lil. Go get the midget.
I did a vlog when I went to watch the little midgets wrestle.
That's right.
And everything. And which was an interesting whole concept and everything. I mean, they're making money on that little thing. And there's a whole nother layer of wrestling out there just with midgets. There's like 4 or 5 midget organizations that are national, that go all over the place. I didn't know there's that many midgets in the world, let alone enough to run promotions. And then the funny thing is, all the way up in Georgia, my daughter is like, "Hey, Dad, you never guess what I'm doing tonight." I'm like, "Going to the bar." She's like, "Yes, but besides that, what am I seeing at the bar?" I'm like, "Wrestling." She's like, "Yes, but what kind of wrestling?" I'm like, "Midget wrestling?" She's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Oh my gosh," because there's a little a bar right next to where her college is called Blue. They've had wrestling there, independent wrestling from Georgia, and then they've had the midget wrestling there. So she's went to both of them and everything. So, it was the same group that we watched and everything.
Yeah.
So,
that's funny. So they really they go around.
Yeah,
figure
they're doing
from Central
6-7
Florida,
days a week.
Central Florida to Southern Georgia. That's a big territory. That's like 400 miles. And
I actually looked up their thing, and they literally do the whole country. They have 3 shows going each day. They have an ABC show going. So I think the midget wrestling might be doing better than everything else.
That's a fair point, because that was sort of if you look at it, the national WWF blueprint that they had when they first went national. You had tours, you had touring brands that were around the country, and they had A, B, C tours. I saw that Christmas, the day after Christmas 1987, Joe, take a guess how many live events the WWF ran on December 26, 1987 in the United States.
I think they ran 4 different shows that night. 5.
Very close.
Wow.
5.
Jeez.
Wow.
They must have headlined the 5th one.
They had 2 crews running double shots, and then they had a third that did this really small spot show.
Wow.
So, but technically it was under that banner. But you're right, Joe. It was 2 main crews doing double shots across the Northeast, and then it was Hogan's first time in Toledo, and that was the nightcap. But the big story for me, and kind of one of the biggest themes with the In-Ring Wrestling podcast for us, has been talking about a lot of the injuries and a lot of the reality of the wrestling business. And Casey has documented his neck surgeries and his 20-plus concussions and all the scars and all the bruises and how much he bled and all the injuries and everything. And then lo and behold, a couple of days ago, what falls into our lap from the sky like manna from heaven, but William Regal putting out a tweet the night after the AEW pay-per-view where he's talking about young wrestlers, please learn from our mistakes and be careful of the bumps and watch the bumps on the head and the neck, because you'll live to regret it. And Casey, I was just like, so that means, we're not crazy. We're not crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a very similar, although bigger, scar and plate in your neck, correct? Than Regal?
Yeah, I have fusion 4. So I have 4 cages that have been fused.
Oh. Jesus.
So yeah, that's why I move like I'm a robot.
Yeah.
That's why I sit in this chair. I can move around. So I can't move my neck, so I just move the whole body.
I want Casey to get like a mechanical thing so that it just and he just goes like that. That'd be the best.
You know, before the show started, I was like, man, I'm like really sore. I was telling my girl, I said, it feels like I've been beat up today. And, you know, usually some days when I'm out doing a bunch of stuff out in the yard or whatnot, you know, going out doing stuff. But, you know, I didn't do nothing but just, you know, sit all day and work.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, yeah, it's cold out. She's like, yeah, it's probably everything starting to bother you. So I'm, oh, yeah, that's true. So I took myself a handful of Advil and took it, and I feel pretty good right now. So
there you go.
But
Joe,
you know, back in the good day, I'd take a handful of Vicodin before the show.
Oh,
well, sure. That's
right.
That was the
as
the
salad
dressing.
Say no to drugs. Just give them to me.
Say no to drugs, kids. Joe, I know you do a lot of because again, as somebody who's been around and seen a lot of things and always willing to provide advice to the young athletes there who seek it. How much counsel do you find yourself giving? Like, hey, you better save yourself, kid, because you know you've only got one neck, you've only got one back. What are those conversations like with you? Does that ever come up?
Not so much, but I do sort of just point to say what I was going to say is that back in the 80s, when I only would get WWF wrestling here in Australia, the rest of the stuff I'd learned from Aptomags. And I remember the Aptomags used to get stuck into Hogan for wrestling about a quarter of the schedule that Ric Flair did as champion. Yet, look how both Ric Flair and Hogan ended up. And Hogan didn't take crazy bumps. He wasn't doing hurricanranas and tope suicidas and triple
leg drop. That's
lindies. And just a leg drop. Just a leg drop. Look what that did to his spine.
Right. Well, again, when you were his size, and if you watch Hogan matches, go back and watch his matches so he wins the belt January of 84. Watch his matches from 84 through 86.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see, man, at first he was fighting uphill because he felt like he needed to try to do everything to kind of get over within the sphere of that time. So he was really working his ass off and bumping big and doing all these different things and selling for every single person. Then Casey, once he kind of gets really established and is over, then he could kind of, you know, play with the money that he had in the bank and didn't necessarily have to do as much. Would you agree with that, Case?
Oh yeah, I mean once he reached the top of that mountain, he can start being very selective of what he wants to do. You know, it's just, you know, it's like Blackjack. He was like Blackjack Mulligan. Blackjack always told me, you know, make him beat you down, then you work your way up, start selling up. You know, and that's exactly what Hogan did. You know, a little bit of shine in the beginning, take that heat, and then hulked up the whole time and make that big comeback. And that's all those people wanted to see back, especially back then, is they wanted to see that Hulk up when he starts making his comeback and starts no-selling everything and does the elbow body slam off, you know, leg drop and start flexing. You know, that's what they're there for.
Yep.
And
Joe,
he realized at that point he didn't have to do anything else.
Didn't have to. Right. Abel, you start to, I'll save those cards for when I need them. And, you know, hey, WrestleMania is once a year and I might break this out if I need it. Joe,
look at some of his Japanese matches.
Yes, exactly.
I watched some the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, Hogan was working his ass off over there.
Right.
But here in the United States, he didn't have to do that.
When you look at the effort,
paralyzed.
Right,
you know,
but then you look at somebody and you know, somebody who we can point to, Bob Orton Jr., somebody who he started wrestling, 73, and by 74, 75, he was in all the different territories and was working at or near the top, had good runs all the way through, and by the time he's in the mid-80s, now he's in the WWF, and he's already 10-plus year, very innovative, took very innovative bumps, and he may be the last one standing, Joe, before it's all said and done. And he was one of those crazy young bump takers.
Okay, but it did seem like he was a crazy bump taker when you look at it. If you compare it with, say, a high flyer who's doing things more dangerously, he's probably more selective with his bumps and doing bumps that are more natural rather than something that's like, I don't mind a high flyer, but I think they should be making it as something to pull out as something special, because there's this elevation thing that always happens that everyone thinks that every match has to be better than the last one. So you get this elevation, that elevation. And where do you stop? That's where you now got the people that are having garbage matches every day on TV.
Yeah.
And what do you do as a finale? The next WrestleMania, someone brings out a bazooka.
Yeah.
Well, that goes to the leadership.
Thank you.
So if the leadership would say, okay, it's not about your individual match, it's about the presentation of the whole entire show.
Mm-hmm.
So you start off slow and you work all the way to the top. It's how it's always been done. But then all of a sudden, all this whole, it started off being the backyard. The backyarders started their sneaking into wrestling, and when backyarders came in, when I was around, we just beat the hell out of them and run them off and tell them go get trained, learn to become a wrestler, or just kill them, just go out there and just brutalize them. But then it was okay to be a backyarder, and people started liking that they were on regular shows, and that's what started ruining the ethics of how wrestling was designed to be. Now they go out and just try to have the best match instead of falling into that formula that it's supposed to be.
So, and Casey, of course, I can go to, so who let those people on the show, and who let them, when you worked with Cuban Assassin, we worked with Blackjack Mulligan, we worked with Freddie Mansfield, those guys didn't put up with that level of stuff. They policed the locker room. They policed the ring.
They all had a shooter. Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody had somebody that would take control of it and would say, no, what are you doing? What's your match? What? No, we're not doing that. Joe, is that a theme that we've seen through Australia, that they continue to raise the stakes even down there?
Well, they do now have leaders that will look at things like Mike Manson's old school. So
I've spoke to him a bunch.
Yeah, and he wants to go back to more a blend of old school and modern stuff. And I end up sometimes at shows sitting next to another ex-wrestler. I don't know what his in-ring name is, but his name's Bird. He's this big bloke who looks like a ex-bikie. And as soon as he sees the same thing happen in the second match, I said, oh, he dove through the ropes in the match before that. And he'd be just saying, oh, they shouldn't be doing that. And he'd be going, oh, leaning back in his seat. And I'd say, you're not impressed with that Bird? He goes,
No. And again, I get footage, and I'm happy to critique. I'm happy to watch and see. And I generally wind up looking at a lot of production elements, and I watch and I listen to commentary too. But it's like, okay, stop
Kevin,
right here.
Let me ask you a question. When someone says, hey, Kevin, let me send you a tape, and I want your true opinion on what I should do, are you straight shooting with them, or do you kind of hold back?
No, I've never held back. Sometimes I am less upfront with my apologies. I am, sometimes if I'm feeling,
are you like me? Do you apologize up front?
Yes, I apologize up front. I'm sorry.
So do I.
I am going to critique you heavily. This is what you wanted, right? Yes. Okay. Yes. Here we go. And 5 seconds in, I was screaming for you to burn your boots, type of thing. And it just depends. It depends on my mood, but really, I can point it back to a lot of when I watch things, it's like, why would you put this out? Why would you release this? This is terrible. shoot your own stuff. Don't spend some money.
So I had a kid who asked me to watch his stuff. He's learning. He's going through school, and all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna." He's a fighter, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have my first match." I'm like, "Why?" I said, "Whoever's teaching you and telling you you're ready for your first match is doing you harm. That's a misjustice."
Yeah.
I said, because what's going to happen is you're going to think you're ready to be a wrestler, and it's going to hurt you, tremendously. You just need to say, "No, I'm not ready." Because you're not ready. Because he would send me little snippets of him doing this and that, and I go from just the little things, just about how you hit the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, the ropes are designed to propel you off. They're not supposed to like hit, stop, and it's supposed to be, a flow, like the water flowing through the creek. It's just like, So he sent me his match, and I had it playing on my big screen, and I had my camera going, and I'd pause it, and I was filming it and talking at the same time, and I'd pause it and stop. So his like little 6-minute match, and it'd be like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And my girl's like, "Oh man, you must really hate that guy, huh?" I said, "No, I'm just being honest,
Right, because if you hated him or didn't have feelings for him, you wouldn't have watched the match.
And that's so true, because now I'm going back to myself. When I was wrestling in WCW, I'd come back after my match, and Paul Orndorff was one of the agents and everything, and Paul would pull me to the side and just lay into me, and I'm like, holy shit. Every match, Paul was there waiting for me when I came through the curtain, and so I was just kind of like getting a little down, and Mike Enos, one of the Beverly brothers, Mike was like, "Hey man," he says, "if Paul didn't like you," he says, "Paul wouldn't be talking to you." He says,
right.
"So just don't get down, just take it." He says, "Listen to what he's saying, because he's the real deal." So
right.
But every time Paul would be like, every time when you work Alex Wright, don't let him do all those flippity floppy stuff when he would, ring the arm and do a flip and a kip up and all that. He says, "Just fucking cut him off and beat his ass,"
Right.
So I'm like, "Oh, it's his match,"
But the thought came to me that if you just sugarcoated and said, "Oh yeah, man, you're ready," and he goes out and hurts himself, it's almost like then you can almost be partly held accountable for giving soft, bad advice.
Yeah. Or having
the problem is
Go ahead.
I was just saying, the problem is there's so many people out there saying, "Oh yeah, it was good, it's good." Even when two guys that are wrestlers, they go in the back and, "Hey, how was it? Was the match?" "Oh, good, good." I would be the one saying, "No, that was sucked." My partner, Cliff, would be like, "Oh, bro, that was good." I said, "What part of that was fucking good? When I was in the ring? Because when you were in the ring, it was the shits." And he'd be like, "Well, what?" I'm like, "You bump with one foot in the ground," and I'll just rip him apart completely. I just have to. Someone's saying something?
Yeah, I'm texting our buddy Ryan O'Toole, my buddy. So he's from here.
Oh, okay. So,
but you gotta, you have to be, I think, judicious with the criticism depending upon the personality.
I just couldn't be that way. I was just straight up and that's just the way I was brought in. You just straight shooter. Just, you know what? Nah, it sucked. But I would give a reason why it's bad, and give them what they could do to fix it and do it the right way. So, and I think that's the problem, is that's what happened once all the backguarders, they allowed the backguarders to infiltrate real wrestling shows. It kind of took over to where being a backyarder was cool, so and then that's turned into the whole as Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig would say, little lollipops, the flippity floppities and all that.
Yeah. We so when And to his credit, good or bad, however you want to take it, Will Ospreay was a backyarder. And a lot of people say that Will Ospreay is the best wrestler in the world. Hardys were backyarders.
Did he get trained by someone?
Kind of, half, loosely. I mean, did the Hardys get trained? They learned on the road.
Oh, someone worked with them.
Mm. But see, that's when there was a road schedule.
Yeah, but they caught on to the right way of doing stuff too.
Well, they did.
And the problem is a lot of these backyarders and stuff like that, they don't catch on to the right way, because even back in the day, they would just work with someone, and then, back in the old days, they just put them in the road and teach them on the road. Right. But you're working with guys and you're learning and you're doing the right thing and learning the right way, and you're transforming into being the correct type of worker and everything, instead of just doing the same old shit they're doing. Like, I'm sure, what's his name? John Moxley, was he a backyarder?
No, I don't know. I don't know where,
because he still wrestles like a backyarder.
Yeah.
He has like an amateur jiu-jitsu background.
Yeah, I think he may have come from like more legitimate combat before getting into wrestling, but he started, I know he was from Ohio, and I think he wound up very quickly over in like Combat Zone in New Jersey. So how he got from there to there, I'm not quite sure. But there's
Cornette. Sorry, I was just going to say Cornette made fun of him because about a year or two ago he was in some sort of jiu-jitsu tournament, and he got beat by some bloke that looked like he worked at Home Depot.
Yeah, that's what happens when it's real. Casey, some of my criticism, my feeling of, I don't know, is that it comes down to the promoters.
Sure.
That there's nobody leading these kids. We don't have Italian Stallion taking the Hardys, throwing him in the car, and going and doing a loop. We don't have too many guys getting to ride, for example, with Frankie Kazarian in TNA, who can tell you everything that you should do, everything that you shouldn't do, because he did them both. He was trained the right way. He made every mistake, and now here he is, and he's older and wiser, and he can tell you why. But you only have a couple of spots in those cars. So it comes down to who runs these shows and what they're allowing and what advice they're giving or not giving. And
oh, that's true.
You know what I mean? It's difficult. It started with High Spots, and nothing against them. They're making money, but they sold cheap rings. Anybody who wanted a wrestling ring could get one. Used to be, where'd you get that wrestling ring from? Ooh, this came from like the 19. True. It's been around since 1960s. Oh man, really? Wow. And so then that allowed a lot of people to get in the business and start running shows, and they didn't know the first thing about it.
Yeah.
Or they knew somebody who could rent them a ring, like Wayne. Plant City Wayne. We brought wrestling to him. He put it on. He paid for shows, and then was like, "Well, I can run my own shows." No, you can't.
Yeah, that's what happens. But when it happens, usually there was someone there, like coming in Harley's territory. He's going to go burn Vince's ring truck. You always had someone that would protect the business. It happened is people stopped protecting the business, and that's why it went the way it is.
Yeah.
So
Joe, I was telling us
we were talking earlier. Huh?
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say a lot of the internet tough guys nowadays, the promoters who talk shit on each other, was kind of like that woman in the McDonald's cutting the promo on her boyfriend, zigzagging in and out of love all day. They talk tough, but they really don't do anything. Whereas Harley Race just went and burned Vince's ring truck.
Yeah. Well, I talked to Harley's son, Justin, and he told me a lot about how Harley was in protecting the business. Although I want to talk to Justin one more time, because I keep reading that the booker in that old 90s series, The Secrets of Wrestling Exposed, was supposed to be Harley Race, and that doesn't seem congruous to me. Did you ever see that show, that special?
Did you see The Secrets of Pro Wrestling, Casey, back in the day? Didn't Dory Funk Jr. do something like that too?
I know there is one. Are you referring back to the one where the Malenko was in it and Bob Orton was in it? Or
No,
that was the one.
This is
no. This is. Yeah, I remember seeing it, and it was, it was released as a tape, and you could buy the tape. It was almost like when you would want to see, oh God, what Faces of Death.
Oh, okay.
You wanted to see, like, this is the real thing, the real wrestling. This is how they do it. Magicians, and magicians exposing their secrets.
Yeah, well,
yeah, but
there was around the same time as that, and this one was the one with all these wrestlers in masks, the All-American Boy, and the Punisher or whatever, and they.
Oh yeah, I know
they
what
went
you're
through
talking about.
Yeah, and there was one that was a booker, and that was supposed to be Harley Race. The others were all very mid-level at best wrestlers, or probably more.
Yeah, you can't hide or deny Harley's, even when you hear his voice. He's so identifiable.
And you got to get bumped by Harley, right? In WCW, call some spots with him.
Yes. Yes. I made sure. Harley was Vader's manager. Then he was Hercules Hernandez was wrestling as I think Super Invader, something, or a mask, and I was his first match. And Herc was like terrified, like nervous as can be, and because his kid was there and was like trying to pep him up and everything. I said, "Don't worry, Herc, I got it." I said, "I'll get you through the whole match. Don't worry." And as when I was noticing it, I was like, "So Harley, why don't I feed to you? And you can." And he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah." And so he bumped me outside the ring and everything, which was cool because it's Harley Race, someone that I watched on TV, saw in the magazines when I was a kid. So. And then when we got to the back, when he came up to me and said, "Hey, was everything okay?" So. That's
was everything okay?
Yeah,
Harley Race says that. Holy moly!
Yeah.
What a gracious guy.
So I have been I did watch a new. I watch a lot of wrestling related content. And this was the I think it was WWE Legends House. Did you ever watch any of that?
I saw a little bit of that.
They all lived. I watched the whole thing.
It was like a big brother.
It was incredible. It was great. Me and my girl watched it all. I watched it all in 2 days.
Oh, I was rearranging my sock drawer, and the tips of my shoelaces needed changed. Shout out to Dr. Tom Pritchard.
It was funny. I enjoyed it. You had Piper in there, which was just like Piper,
Yeah.
And then Duggan, he was in there, and Jimmy Hart, which irritated everyone, which is pretty consistent,
Right.
And who else they had? Oh, Tony Atlas was in it too, and so Tony aggravated everyone because he made one day he made Chitlin smell up the whole house and everything, and it was and then you had Howard Finkel, you had Mean Gene.
Oh my God!
It was
a bunch of gimmicks.
It was what's that?
A bunch of gimmicks in that house, man. Come on.
Oh yeah, it was. I actually enjoyed it, and Pat Patterson was in it.
I may have to go back and seek that out.
And Pat came out of the closet. Not that everyone in the world didn't already know, but he came out and he said it. Hey, I have been in the business for 40 years, and I am a gay man. And we're like, no shit. Pat, everyone knew that.
Yeah.
Everyone knew he had what was his boyfriend's name? I couldn't think of it. He traveled with him. Louis, that's it. Oh, yeah. So, but we started watching it about a couple days after when I was telling the story where Pat talk to me, shall we say,
Mm-hmm.
that day. So it was just funny. It was you can tell some of it was a work, but it was interesting. Hacksaw wanted to kill Tony Atlas once and was screaming and yelling. I'm like, oh, I know that voice right there because I was in the bar once and Hacksaw looked at me and says, all right, let's go. We're getting in a fight. I'm like, okay, let's go. And
Dang.
I forget what it was. Something Hugh Morris was doing something, and so we were going to his aid or whatnot. So
you can tell when this is phony and put on. This is some little skit that they came up with, some little angle. But then if somebody's really hot, like it, like instantly, it's like,
oh
ooh.
yeah, he was. It was funny. So I enjoyed it. I know it's kind of weird and stuff like that. But hey, I wanted to get your opinion on something which has been really big in social media and stuff like that. Mick.
What?
Mick Foley, I think he's about to say.
Mick Foley? Your microphone cut out, Casey.
Just not if it's about Mick Foley.
It is about Mick Foley. You pulled your gimmick out.
Now
look at him.
He's gone.
Well, did you see? So I'm sure you saw the story.
Yeah.
About Mick Foley. Casey, you back?
His picture's back.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you now. So about Mick Foley turning away from WWE because you're moving and grooving and you're pulling cords out.
I know. I was on a roll too. Damn it.
So the story about Mick Foley walking away from WWE, saying he doesn't want to work for the company anymore as long as Donald Trump is in office. And for those that don't know, that don't pay attention to politics at all in the United States, of course, the Trumps and the McMahons have been close for many, many years. Trump is in the WWF Hall of Fame, WWE Hall of Fame, WrestleMania appearances. Linda McMahon is his current education secretary or whatever. Yep. And Mick Foley said, because he doesn't like Trump's politics, he said adios to the WWE. Hey, good for him. Whatever. You can have any opinion that you want, but then you can't cry if your pocketbook gets hurt. Because the saying in America now is go woke, go broke. And we'll see.
I didn't see. Is he not accepting any of his money?
You mean like royalties?
Royalties? Yeah.
That's a good question.
Because if you really want to be true to the cause, why don't you just take all that money and have them donate it to a charity or something?
There you go.
And don't take nothing.
I think that would be fair. Yeah. It's a tough stance. It's a nuanced stance because you're threading a needle and saying, I don't like the guy, even though he was friends with Trump all the way through. Trump always seemed to be the same type of guy. He's just president now, and people don't like that.
I think he's
whatever.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I think his final straw was his comments about Rob Reiner. And that seemed to be, because in his initial post, Mick Foley made mention of that and said, look, I can't stand that because it was a bit of it's not the best.
I don't even know who Rob Reiner is.
Well, Rob Reiner was he was a Hollywood director, and he was a Meathead and All in the Family.
Yeah, Meathead.
And an actor. But, again, that was a receipt from Trump because Reiner, shit-talked Trump for how many years and wished death upon him and said all these different things. And, that's working snug right there, Casey, when the guy dies and you still get your receipt in. He never said shit about Reiner until he died, and then he got the last word. And people got hot about that.
Did Reiner wish death on him? I thought he just...
Oh, yeah. Go look. See some of the things that Rob Reiner said about Donald Trump, and then you go, oh, well, maybe that's why Trump said it about him. It wasn't just that he's a liberal and Trump's a conservative and they didn't like each other politically. No, there was a lot of there was a lot of negativity thrown his way from Reiner. Come on, man.
Then I seen Kane, he's like, hey, being the Republican mayor
Sure.
of Knoxville and everything. He's like, hey, I've had conversations with Mick about it. We can be friends and disagree. And that's the problem is people like that can't realize that you can still be friends and have different political beliefs and still, you have the right to believe what you want to believe. I have the right to believe the way I feel, and respect each other for it.
I think and again, it'll be an economic decision for Mick that may or may not work out for him. Mick could be in a financial position where he doesn't need the money, doesn't care about the money. He's made more than enough. He's got enough to live a few lifetimes. And then so be it.
He's got royalties from his books, from his tours.
Sure.
All that stuff outside of WWE.
Yeah.
I know what I've been wanting to ask you, Kevin. I always forget, but now that we're talking about him, how did his son become a writer?
So, okay.
Does he have a background, or
I think so.
My dad's Mick Foley. I want to write. Sort of like Ultimate Warrior's wife.
What was her name? Like Nina Warrior or something like that. Dana Warrior, yeah.
Dana, yeah.
I seem to remember Dewey being involved in creative writing projects before then, whether it may have been like graphic novels / comic book type of thing, video game type of stuff. Like when I heard he was working there, it wasn't a huge shock to me because I thought, he's bringing some knowledge from his particular background, plus the age. He's a young guy.
He probably wouldn't have got the job just being Dewey. He got the job. Dewey, Mick Foley's son, kind of was the cherry on top.
But to be effective there, you got to kind of be smart to the business. I mean, my son's really into graphic novels, comic books, video games, anime, all that stuff. I wouldn't recommend him to go work for WWE because he didn't really follow wrestling. He'd get blown out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
But Dewey being Mick's son, I think he knows a thing or two about the business. I'm sure he and his dad had quite a few talks. And I forget his daughter's name. She was involved with it for Noelle was involved in the business for a while.
25 letters in our alphabet.
Yeah. It's a very, very smart family. A very good a really good family. They were all great people.
We found a new fact checker for the show.
Get Joe on it.
Joe.
But wait a minute, Casey. How are we supposed to get away with our bullshit if Joe's fact checking us? We don't need that. Come on, let us live.
We had the dump button.
That's right.
Just dump it.
We have the community notes says, get off my screen. So let me ask you this, Joe, Casey. We'll let Joe go first. Are you a New Year's resolution kind of guy? And if so, what are some resolutions that you have made for the new year of 2026?
Not really a resolution type of guy, but I just want to keep on getting a bit more prosperous and growing my passion project of my YouTube show and keep on making connections. I've been very happy this year. I've been able to interview some people of note like your good selves separately and Barbara Goodish of Bruce Brody's Widow. And a couple of Evan Ginsberg I've interviewed twice, and Keith Elliott Greenberg. So
great guy.
Yeah, they were really fun. And Uncle Billy, Bill Pierce, he used to wrestle as Chris Michaels in the original ECW.
Okay,
so
wow.
I'd like to grow that and go next level with some more name people. I've approached some people that were big stars in the 80s, and they wanted a fee.
Well.
And I don't have a
budget. Who wanted a fee?
Yeah, give us a name.
Yeah, come on.
Merced Solis.
Who? Tito Santana?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Come on.
How much did he
one
want?
other, but I can't remember.
Yeah, wait a minute. How much did he want, Joe?
100?
3.
5.
300.
3? Okay.
How much?
3 bills. 3 bills
US.
US Tito Santana.
Yeah.
Who else?
There was one other, but I can't remember the name. I can't remember who it was because I approached quite a few. You see them on Facebook, and you make sure it's them and not someone else doing them. I actually was hopeful of getting an interview with Scott Casey. He didn't want money, but his partner said that he is not sort of the best way to do interviews anymore.
Oh, gotcha.
Because I really liked him back in the day. He was one of my favourite, my favourite enhancement guys. Because I used to like some of those enhancement guys in the 80s. Scott Casey from Texas.
He drew big money with Eddie Mansfield in San Antonio.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, I've been fact-checked here by Ichiban Sweetboy. Reiner never wished death on Trump, as far as I could tell. He did call him corrupt and unfit for office. Well, thank you very much, Ichiban Sweetboy. Number one, Sweetboy. Casey, what are your New Year's resolutions here for 2026?
I don't make any resolutions because, but I have small goals that I set. So, and it's a lot of it's podcast related, building the podcast. Literally one person, one subscriber by one, and we've been seeing some nice growth and very happy with it. I'm a couple hundred subscribers behind my goal, so we're on the road to 1,000. We're getting really close to 800. So,
okay.
I think it's great. We're out there putting some decent content. We're giving people a perspective of they don't hear from other people. So I've enjoyed that. So that's mainly my goal is just to my resolution would be to just continue success and growing our show, little by little. But I don't make any resolutions because I wouldn't keep it more than a day or two,
Yeah.
So
I always think, like, as far as resolutions go, I'm going to for about the 37th consecutive year try to lose some weight here in the new year, try to eat healthier, try to get some more exercise, be a little bit more mobile, because 58 years old you start to and I wasn't taking bumps for a living, and I got good genes on my side, but I want to make sure that I don't kind of waste these years now with physical ailments just because I'm lazy. And that's the biggest thing, is just I got to stop being physically lazy. But yeah, you don't want to jinx it. You don't want to put too much pressure on yourself. Joe, it's the school that Casey and I came from. It's like you believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. So making resolutions for us is sort of like, I'll wait till it happens.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to make it, why wait till January 1 to make a resolution? Why not make that resolution any day of the year?
I don't know. You could.
Exactly.
Now, let me ask you this. So I know that culturally, different parts of the world, they have different New Year's traditions for food related to good luck. Here in central Pennsylvania, because of the Pennsylvania Dutch community, the tradition is on January 1st, you got to have pork and sauerkraut, which for me is half good, because I love pork. Just pork fine, sauerkraut, no thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
But you just have one little bit of it, and you cut some apple up and you cook it in the sauerkraut, and it kind of mellows the sauerkraut out. And the apple is sort of like, okay, that's
it's supposed to be a good
luck. What do they have?
Tradition.
Yeah. What do they have in Australia? Do you guys have any sort of, is it ethnic? Is it a different good luck food for the new year?
It could be ethnic stuff, because we've got nearly every nationality
that
come here, and they'll bring their sort of things. With us, like I'm Australian born. My parents are Hungarian. My wife is Slovenian, but I don't cook, so it's whatever the good wife cooks. And she's a really, really good cook. We never really planned anything, although we go by more saying that, okay, if we eat something that's a bit more luxurious, it's for prosperity's sake. There's something like
there you go.
Tried that a few times, but a lot of times people go with things like barbecues, sausage sizzles. We have a big box hardware chain down here called Bunnings, and outside every Bunnings every weekend they've got a canopy there, and they've got what's called a sausage sizzle, which is basically just sausage and bread with a bit of tomato sauce and a bit of onion if you want. But we've actually, buddy, with the sauerkraut, we've become sort of having a bit of sauerkraut, because it depends on the sauerkraut you get. I know, I was the same way as you. Case, but I've actually found a sauerkraut that I don't mind, because my wife gives me a spoonful every day to try and help me with my health.
Probiotics. It's good for you.
This time last year, I was sick in bed because I had really bad fever, because my right leg had what looked like being cellulitis, and I went to hospital on New Year's Day, and I spent New Year's Day and overnight in hospital because they were trying to find out what it is, and it's partly still there, but one doctor that my wife spoke to thinks that cellulitis is unusual for it to be there for a whole year. They think it's something venous eczema or something like that.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but it's getting a lot better.
That's one of the few ailments that Casey has not had. Casey's had a broken neck. He had a big hunk of scar tissue cut out of his head earlier this year. Casey, are you going back under the knife to have more scar tissue cut out in the new year?
No, but I did freaking cut my head. I after myself. I colored right before the show. I was turning the lights on, and I hit my head, and it looked like I gigged myself up on top of my head. I put a Band-Aid. My girl put a Band-Aid on it.
I freaked everybody out. Yeah. You got to have, there's got to be something. What are we going to have done this coming year?
Yeah, I don't, let's hope nothing.
Right. I got some good juice the other night. I was washing steak knives, and the back end of the knife caught me right in the fold of the thumb. And with the water and the wet, I like showed my wife, and I was like, look, and it was just pouring off of there.
That's not where you gig yourself.
Yeah, right?
I remember back in the day when I was like in high school, just started wrestling, was learning how to color and stuff. You're like, hey, man, you want to get a free meal here at Burger King? Like, what?
No.
I said, I'm going to slip in that glass. I'm going to hit myself and come up bleeding. They're going to give us all free food. No.
So I was at McDonald's today. No, did you really?
Coloring and I fed everyone all the time with free food.
God. I was at McDonald's today. I was at Mackey's today, Joe, and and a guy walked in he opened the door, and I guess a broom had fallen over. So the broomstick was in front of the entrance to the McDonald's, and he stepped on it, and I was like, oh God, take a bump. You're going to get over. He didn't.
Exactly like I do.
Yeah. I was waiting for him. I was like, no, take a bump. And he didn't hear me. I would have vouched for him. Oh, that guy, you knocked him over with your broomstick, you horrible people. Let's eat.
Oh, wow.
Because you know what happened with the Shockmaster?
No, what? He tripped and fell.
Yeah,
Poor Fred.
Because they put in an extra stud on the bottom, and he didn't know about that because they didn't have that on the walkthrough.
Mm-hmm.
So when they actually rebuilt the door after the walkthrough, they put the extra stud on the floor. He didn't know, and that's where he tripped.
That was bad.
Hey, I worked at a club real quick story. I worked at a club years ago, and I got in a fight and I ended up getting cut from here all the way down the side of my face.
Oh my
With
God!
the guy's key. It looked like the key. He dug the key in my head. It looked like a curly fry on it, right? So we ended up being in court and everything, right? And this goes back to wrestling. So his attorney was like, Your Honor, he's like, we know for a fact that he was a professional wrestler, and that happened during a wrestling match. And the judge is like, what? And he's like, you know what? He says, I could subpoena like all the wrestling magazines and all the TV tapings and stuff like that. He's saying this, and I'm sitting here like, what is going on? He's like, or we could call, the WWF or WCW and ask him and see some video of that scar's been there, that cut's been there. Or, you know what? I'm just going to ask him. He says, Mr. Thompson, how did that happen? I said, well, he took a key and carved my head. I said, and how can you prove it? I said, well, I would imagine that the police officer that took the picture of the key with my skin hanging off of it would be a good enough. He's like, good enough for me. So in court, they brought up the fact that I wrestled and everything, trying to get out of it and everything.
Yeah, because they said what they were going to say is, because we know they sharpen those keys, and that's how they get all that blood.
No, Your Honor, wrestling's all fake. It didn't happen there.
Honest, and I swear, all of this is real. We could, of course, continue on until next year, but it's late for me, boys, and I've got to get up nice and early for bed. So it's time for me to go. Yeah. But I want to thank our pal Southern Joe from Australia for tuning in, joining us here for the Happy New Year special for 2025. And Case, of course, none of this would be possible without you. So thank you very much, and very, very happy New Year.
Can I get one quick plug in for my show?
Please plug away.
Yeah, so my show is called If You See Kayfabe. It's a sort of it is a bit, even though I don't sort of swear on the show, it's a play on the old thing of the the origin of it is, if you want to spell out the F word, you say, if you see K, tell her I said g'day. So kayfabe, if you see kayfabe.
I like that.
So it's on YouTube.
So go and check that out.
Not as many subscribers as these guys, but please check mine out as well. Send a like and subscribe. These guys are on close to 800 subscribers, and I enjoy their show. And the only other show I really watch is Jim Cornette, or listen to in the car.
There you go.
Well, I'm glad we're in good company then. We appreciate you, Joe, and you tuning in and being involved, and that's why we opened it up. And we had another guy, Steve from Portugal, but Kevin had a tummy ache, so we had
it was the alien baby. I'm telling you, it was.
I know.
Gas.
It sounds crazy.
Holidays.
I enjoy the little roundtable we're having here. Wanting to give back to everyone that's been supporting us, coming in and just kind of just doing what our format is, so kind of just shooting the shit, hanging out, and just talking literally whatever comes in the top of our mind,
Yeah. Well, next year or next week, it'll be next year. We will probably try to do some look forward on what's upcoming. And there's a lot of wrestling in and around on the first week of Japan. I'm interested to see how the ratings are affected by the big season coming up with football as we're entering the college football playoffs, and of course the NFL playoffs right around the corner. It's going to dominate conversation.
But your other podcast coming, Kevin?
Oh, so
doing this?
Yeah, let's throw a plug in. So the Strong Style Stories just started a couple of weeks ago, and it's about the 8 years that I spent in Japan. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of taking a look.
Fast.
Yeah, I know. October of 2015 to October of 2023. And in that span of time, it was good for me. It was the hottest period in our lifetimes. Most of the fans in our lifetimes, for New Japan Pro Wrestling, for Japanese Pro Wrestling. And we were, front and center with a lot of it, getting to tell a lot of good stories, getting to see a lot of great matches and meeting some interesting people living in an entirely different country. So we're kind of breaking down, kind of events, time periods, time frames. We've been focused a lot on Wrestle Kingdom. We've been focused a lot on Hiroshi Tanahashi's retirement, which is close to, kind of the Japanese equivalent of John Cena. And and then, of course, the return of Okada, which is much more political than people understand. And the most recent episode, I give the reasons why Okada left and joined AEW. And folks, it's not about the money. Tell you from the horse's mouth, from Okada himself, exactly his feelings about the people there that forced him to make the decision that he made and joined AEW as a result and changed New Japan history. But the future is very bright. They've got a good crop of young guys, and I think they're going to, it was part of the page turning that needed to happen. But yeah, Strong Style Stories, it's available wherever you get your favorite podcasts, just like this one. And wherever you can find them, listen to them and support them. Give them a like and a share and a subscribe. So
that's your podcast?
That's the one I do with my buddy Joel Yentis. And Joel, I met through his fandom of New Japan. And he's from England. When New Japan was in England, of course, I was there as well. And so that's how we became friends. We have mutual friends in the industry. But yeah, so Joel and I he was like my muse in a way, because I would like vent to him about things that I was dealing with, whether it was health issues or, some of the shows that I was having to deal with, the travel, the whatever frustrations. I could yell at Joel and I felt better. So that's how we became friends. There you go.
Check it out.
Check it out. So Strong Style Stories. And we will be back with our first edition of the In-Ring Wrestling Podcast next week for 2026. The new year begins. So for our pal Southern Joe, thank you once again. And of course, the host and creator, Casey Thompson, I'm Kevin Kelly. And we'll see you next time for the In-Ring Wrestling Podcast. Happy New Year, everybody. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe the In-Ring Wrestling Podcast.